Hello there, mates. Mishy Game here, and thank you for checking into this very first episode of a game called The Remainder. So, funny story, I actually got asked to play this game by the developers, but I didn't see it because it went over to the promotional side of my email and I never checked the promotions. So, at the time they sent me, I think the beta was out, but the full game is, well, the full part of Act 1 is out now. So, I love me a good story. The reviews are really good for it, so let's check it out. How to play. Click anywhere on the screen to progress with the story. Choices you make along the way will determine your fate. So I have to give my obligatory. I tend to get the worst ending you can possibly get in these types of games. So just putting that out there now. Don't get too attached to the characters because I may royally screw it up. Act 1. Waves crash in the distance. Cicadas chirp. A breeze caresses our hair. The sun warms our skin. All is well. We're sitting on a rug laid on the grass, hands linked together. Our singing voices fold up in unison. My chest vibrates. I can feel the air and our bodies move as one. The space between us hums with power. I close my eyes and smile, savoring the feeling. My dream is coming true, just a little longer. Their singing falters and I peer at them curiously, trying to hide my annoyance. Why did you stop? They squeeze my hand with a smile and shake their head. Their skin is cold and clammy. Huh? What has gotten into you? I ask. They gesture at the sky with an outstretched hand. I look up. The sun is ducked behind a cloud. Drops of wetness fall, softly patting the ground. You don't see it yet, do you? I frown, still peering up. What do you mean? When I lower my gaze, they're not there. Pressing my lips together, I stand up and search around me. Where did you go? It's pouring now. The cicadas are silent. Wind rips at my clothes. I look at my hands. Thick, warm, red. A sweet scent fills my nostrils. I venture a lick, metallic, greasy. What in Lyra's name is happening? Darkness falls. Soon I can barely make out the silhouette of my hands. A sense of urgency grips me. I run to the tower and throw open the doors, shouting, "Where are you?" Empty halls stretch before me, echoing my question. In the far end, a figure is walking away into the dark. Hey, wait! Shouting, I run after them, feet pounding upon the sticky wet stones, echoing loudly, squelch, squelch, squelch. I said wait! What was their name again? Why can't I remember? Why are you surprised? What? My, look at you, the voice chuckles, falling short where it counts again. I ignore it and keep running, sink the name. I'll know them when I find them. I grab the slippery doorknob and barge into the room. Nothing. Another door. Nothing. I run my hands over my hair, fingers digging into my scalp. What the? I recoil when I realize the sticky stuff is smeared all over. I wipe it on my clothes, but it won't come off. Sink this! I curse, clench my teeth, and storm through yet another door. Look at the poor great maggots, all alone in their tall stone prison. Shut up! My voice echoes back as I stand in the empty room. My hot breath rasps in my throat. Why was I running so hard? Why am I so tired? Why was I struggling? My legs tremble and I sink to my knees. It's all right. Everything is fine. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter now. Eyelids heavy, comforting numbness envelops me. I close my eyes and crumble to the floor, just for a moment. Everything's fine. The sea in every direction, endless, a diamond dusting of moonlight across the surface above me. I look down into the depth, a pressure against my chest as the darkness stirs. A star, then two, then a constellation glitters into life. They approach. The darkness was not the bottomless sea, but the body of an enormous fish, its silhouette filling my entire view. A gaping mouth splits open from horizon to horizon, a deeper black within, approaching, buzzing. The progenitor hag Surthrob comes for me. I should be afraid. Her mouth, now all-encompassing, blots out the last remainder of feeble illumination around me. I should be afraid. Why am I not? The mouth shuts with a distant clang, a flash of lightning across the eyelid sky. I have no idea how you pronounce that. Come on, wake up! Prickling light in a comforting darkness, a rumbling rises and falls in an anti-music rhythm. Calm coolness gives way to crushing heat. A blanket of boulders smothers me? Hey, you alright? Do you hear me? My eyes struggle open to a face. No, go away. Someone grips my shoulders and squeezes. Still a bit out of it, eh? That metallic and greasy buzzing sound crescendos and my mouth tastes of iron. A hand is laid upon my forehead. I open my eyes again. It's easier this time, but the rest of my body is still heavy as stone. I can't budge a hair. Feverish, but no obvious wounds. You'll be fine, I dare say. Their brows furrow deeper. Stay still, listen to me carefully. Your spell had gone very, very wrong. It's going to kill us, and I haven't got much time to fix it. After a pause, I pat my head, as if an afterthought. What are you talking about? What spell? I work my stiff tongue. Don't worry about that. Just stay put. I'll deal with it. They turn and stride off. Hey, wait! What's A hoarseness burns my throat, and I wheeze. I peer around, trying to get a hold of my surroundings. I must be dizzy still. Everything's spinning. Why are the books flying? I squeeze my eyes shut again. This is not happening. I'll wake up soon. Sounds trickle in, rustling, clinking, a storm raging outside, a guttural buzzing. How can I sleep like this? Annoyed, I drag myself sluggishly to my feet. An urge to gag rises, rubbing my throbbing temples, tasting of foulness in my mouth. I force down the bile. What did I do last night? That incessant buzzing. I rub my eyes again to clear them and look for the source of the sound. As I catch the sight of it, a cold terror creeps up my spine. A pulsing, churning thing is suspended in the air, like space is swallowing itself. Waves of moist, brilliant heat spew from it. The transparency, the symmetry, the stench, the singing. Breath catching in my throat, I freeze. What in Lura's name is that? Shapes huddle beneath the grotesque thing in the air. As I step around to get a better look, they resolve into figures, midnight silent and still as bones. The white-haired person who woke me earlier stands still. Another person is curled up on the floor, their face a mask of anguish. The emblem of a high magus hangs around their necks. The image of an eel coils around their arm. Why do I know these symbols? White-haired hands are raised in a peculiar gesture toward the vortex looming ahead. Hey, I whimper. What are you doing? What is that thing? It looks like they are frozen in place. Hello? I ask again. No movement. I bump into something and look to see a couch. Beside it, there's a table on which cups lay around like drunkards. Inkwell, quills, and crumpled papers are strewn across the table and the stones beneath. A few bottles are still dripping from the mouths. Dark red spots splatter across the floor. A crash from somewhere else in the cavernous chamber pierces the silence, jolting me. I duck behind the couch, heart pounding fast. There comes a bang, sound of glass shattering, shouting. A cacophony reverberates painfully from the walls around me. I clutch my ears. Are there people fighting here? Please, let me wake up already. This is not funny anymore. As abruptly as they came, the sounds die down. Is it over? Clamping eyes shut, I try to block out the buzzing. Praying, let this be over soon. Let this be over soon. Let this... How did you get there? I nearly jump at the voice. The white-haired person is back, slumped next to the couch, head lulled, a hand to their shoulder, breath shallow. What? I just saw you over there. I turn and see the same person still in the same spot under the vortex, and my mouth hangs open. Why are there two of you? I turn back to ask and see something drip from them. The glistening fluid shimmers and vanishes after it hits the floor. Are you... melting? I back away a step. I heard shouting. Is there someone else here? I try to speak but wince instead. Eyes closed, throat bobbing. Spitting out something black and then resting their head back. They flash a sly grin and whisper, yes, but now it wishes it never said. Violent coughing interrupts them. More fluid drops down and evaporates. I wrinkle my nose. I don't see. What in the depth is going on here? What does it look like? They say. I glance around the room with a scowl, taking care to avoid the floating thing. Like the end of the world? Another wince. They lift a finger and point. What about that? Do you recognize it? I realize they mean the vortex and avert my eyes. No, Davarna, no, absolutely not. Should I? I can't resist a shudder. They grimace. Sink me. Not even that? Your handiwork? Excuse me? I scoff. You heard me. That thing's here because of you. The Abyss Davara, a door to the last place you'd ever want to be. Make no mistake. Their eyes widen with fear and their mouth curls in disgust. Curiosity rising, I push myself upright and study the scene again. Nope, I think I remember doing something like that. The unmoving figure catches my sight. You still didn't tell me why there are two of you, or who that other person is on the floor. They gesture at the prone figure. Bit slow in the uptake, aren't we? That's you, the one who caused all this. A great magus, farseer, savior of Durn Square, prodigy of the age, so on and so forth. They're looking directly at me now. Tell me you at least remember your name. My name, Vin? Your name's gonna be Mushi today, baby. Mushi. Enter. The unmoving figures catch my sight. You still didn't tell me why there are two of you, or who that other person is on the floor. They gesture at the prone figure. Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm rereading this stuff. The words tickled at the inside of my head. Magus Mushi. They say weakly. Not to slight a dire situation, but it is amusing to see yourself like this, no? Amused. Try skeptical. Even if I believe you that I'm this Mushi character, that still doesn't explain who's lying on the floor there. The stranger shakes their head and chuckles, then tilts their head limply toward an ornate mirror meandering toward the air nearby. Easier if you go see yourself. I roll my eyes, step to the mirror, and pull off its velvet cover. Show me how I look. I would rather keep it vague. Yeah, show me. Is this me? Oh, wow. I look cool. Yeah, let's go for it. What I see leaves me stunned. The figure in the mirror is the spitting image of the person on the floor. I turn to look with wide eyes, then back at the mirror again. Every last detail, down to the small pieces of metal embedded in my skin, which I'm only now noticing. It's all identical. Then, just for a breath, the eel of my arm seems to wiggle. But I blink and it's still again. I feel lightheaded. This is not right. But how? How am I in two places at once? I turn to the figure next to me. Are we dead? Is this the afterlife? And why do you know things when I don't? How is this fair? And just who are you? They laugh soundlessly. This is too rich. You don't remember my name either? You're... I can name you? Oh dear. I'm not actually good at naming other people. Let's go. Your name gonna be Link today. Another fit of coughing. Not even close. You must have hit your head quite severely. Worried, I run a hand over my scalp. There aren't any holes. I don't remember hitting it, but that's just how it would be if I did hit it, isn't it? My voice trails off. How shall I say this? Eyes closed and lips parted. Their voice is barely a whisper now. The name's Elar? Your partner. Don't know what you did. Found you like this. They push out the words with effort. I lean closer to listen. A ritual must have gone astray and set loose the Abyss Devar, stripping away your memories. I did what I could. You'd be gone otherwise. They're silent for a long stretch. I nudged them. Are you still with me? They open their eyes and struggle to lift a hand and point toward the other side of the room, but it flops to the floor. Sink me. They're getting so quiet I have to put my ear next to their mouth to hear them. Warm breath tickles me, blood rushes in my ears. Your desk, look in your journal, find the spell. Circular gate, black powder, mantra. Only way to save, no time, go, quick. They slump to the floor. Holding my breath, I wait, heartbeat like a hammer in my skull. Thump, thump. The buzzing fills the would-be silence in between, resonance of torment. I drive a thumb into my temple, crushing one pain with another, a futile effort. Hey, are you alive? I reach a hand to their shoulder. My hand passes through them. I pull away in shock and watch open mouth as Lars' body melts into sticky, transparent strands. A few moments later, they're no more than a shimmering puddle. Tumbling back, I land on my butt and scream. I throw my hands over my mouth and clamp tight, hoping that I wasn't loud enough to draw attention, staring at the spot where Lar had been. By the death, I relax my hands and mutter once my heart slowed down to a less painful pace. Realizing that a few glowing strands still cling to my fingers, I shake them off in a panic. My skin crawls. Davarna, what do I do now? Bind and cast a spell? Are they mad? I don't even know what a spell is. And what happened to them? Are they dead now? Davis, what did I do? What do I do? Investigate my surroundings, search the rest of the room for the desk and journal, get as far away from here as I can. Let's investigate. I can't just move about, it's too risky. Maybe I can find some clue as to what happened here? Crouching and stepping lightly, I scrutinize my surroundings, unsure what to look for. My foot crunches on something soft, a piece of parchment, damp and crumbled. There's writing. Could I learn something about this place? I tease it open and read. What is this nonsense? I scratch my head and wonder if I'm wasting my time. I'm not sorry, I'm not sorry, I'm not sorry, I'm not sorry. All right, well, we know what goes on there. Investigate around here more thoroughly. Move on to search for the desk and journal. I want to investigate some more. There must be dozens of pieces of paper like the first one scattered around here. Maybe I can try those. Taking a few steps, I reach out to another piece. A deafening rumble shakes my body, and before I can turn to see, a stream of moist heat smashes into me along with a shower of debris sending me flying. The air is knocked from my lungs. The room spins. I clutch blindly for support as I tumble through the air and begin to crash downward. My heart is pumping out of my throat as I wait for a terrible crunch of bone on stone, but my left arm shoots out on its own and catches the floor. Then, in one silky motion, my wrist, then elbow, then shoulder smoothly breaks into stony surface, setting my body into a roll instead of a splatter. With my arms around my head, I roll over and over, finally coming to a stop. I lie a while panting, feeling my body, amazed that nothing smashed a bit except for a ringing head, bruised arms. What in the depth happened? And how do I do that? And how did I do that? I raise my bruised head and see that I've been flung several meters away from the abyss devour. It quivers and sucks in the surrounding debris, falls silent for a breath, then blows out another wave of energy. I scramble up and run as fast as my feet can carry me. Withering heat licks the back of my neck. Specks pelt me. I nearly slip right on myself just in time to stay upright. The rumble reaches a peak. I shut my eyes, focusing only on the pounding of feet on stone. Then it was gone. The heat, the debris, the vibration. I stopped just in time to avoid ramming into an oversized desk, panting, tasting blood in my mouth. When I looked, the abyss devourer has returned to its previous state of quiet menace. Elbows on the desk, I drop my head and breathe out in relief. That could have ended differently. Mushi, I hear a faint whisper so quiet that it's barely distinguishable from the sound of the rain. Did I imagine it? There it is again. Is it coming from the desk? The massive drift oak desk, I realize as I glance around, is the only one in this room. It could be my desk. I examine it now as if seeing it for the first time. What a disgrace. Save for a heavy book squarely set in the center, aligned with the edges, everything else, papers, scrolls, measuring tools, writing instruments, all are scattered around carelessly. I file a mental note to put it in order when this is all finished. Observing the book, I noticed the precisely spaced stitch marks along the spine, evenly placed rivets meticulously inscribed Mushi in the letter. My jittery breath steadies, my head clears somewhat. This must be the journal. If I can find the spell, I can save myself. I flip open the journal. Hello there, you're in my journal then. Will you help me make sense of all this? The paper is smooth and firm under my fingers. A thick aroma enters my nose. So familiar, I close my eyes and inhale deeply. Memories tickle the back of my head. When I open my eyes again, the arcane symbols seem to regard me even as I look at them. Like seeing an old friend. Written words, soldiers of the intellect, regiments arraying on the planar battlefield, written in a decisive hand, mine. Geometric diagrams, sigils, maps of heart and spirit, beyond words, ordered beauty. It must take days, perhaps weeks to draw each. What is time to acts of chaos defiance? A row of strings hangs from the bottom of the book, each with an ornamental coin tied at the end. Bookmarks, perhaps. By the depths, it's an encyclopedia. How will I ever find one spell in this? A scratching sound comes from somewhere to my left. I tense up for a moment. Is it some debris or... I wait. Another scratch, then another. Something sharp against wood. I swallow, heart pounding. Could it be whatever Lara was dealing with? What do I do? The scratching keeps coming in twos and threes, from the same distance now I realize. If they wanted to harm me, I'd be harmed already. Now be brave and look. I carefully turn my head. There's an arched doorway nearby. Dense blackness lies in the hallway beyond it. I squint, an amber glint flashes. Another scratch. I crane my head forward. Is that a shape ever so slowly detaches itself from the darkness of the doorway? Its fur is so black that it looks like a moving shadow. Its features are sharp, merciless. It walks tiptoed, sinewy muscles rippling under the fur, poised to lunge. I stumble back, and hand fumbling behind me, searching the desk for a weapon. My fingers grip around something, and I look to see a knife. A lidless eye on the base of the blade turns its gaze to me and whispers, "Thirsty, feed me." I yelp and toss the knife. It clacks and falls behind the desk. I turn to see the dark feature in... I'm sorry, is that a didgeridoo? Yes, I love that instrument. I turn to see the dark creature inching forward unsteadily, peering around the room, sniffing the air, pausing at every little sound. It's distracted. I might have a chance. I tense up and ready myself. The creature winces and clutches its head, and I bolt for the circle of debris. Caught by surprise, it claws on my arm, misses, tears a shred of fabric away. I hear a strained hiss, then rapid footsteps on my heels. I don't dare slow down. Something sharp snatches at my robe, tear it, but without enough catch to stop me. It's closing in. I can't outrun it. What do I do? I hear from right behind me, stop! Did it just speak? Something large crashes in the corner of my eye. Then I hear a crash. What? I turn to see my pursuer knocked to the ground by a bookshelf-turned projectile. Don't stop! Come to me! Lara's voice booms. I turn and see them moving their arm in an arc, and several thick vases from the drifting flock launch toward the creature. A head-on smash! Myriad splinters fly out. I wince at the imagined pain. But when the pieces have settled, I spot the dark figure some distance back on all fours, mostly unharmed. How did... Lara takes a few quick steps to my back, muttering something under their breath, then throws their open hand toward the enemy. It leaps back, bounding several meters at once, landing near the doorway. I wait for Lara to press the attack, but they simply step out from behind me and glare at our attacker. What are you waiting for? Finish it! It seems Lara doesn't hear me at all. They just stand there. I look toward the dark figure who's staring at me with pain in its eyes. It opens its mouth to say something, but all that comes out is a sound somewhere between a gurgle and a hiss. It clutches at its head again with both hands, eyes bulging, straining. Lara chuckles with the flick of her wrist and launches a cabinet. The invader grimaces at me and vanishes into the dark doorway. The cabinet smashes into chunks so loud that it hurts to hear it. The room is quiet again, save for the rain and the pounding in my chest. What happened? I thought you died. You turned into... Still panic, I fumble the words. Lara's triumphant stance falters and they hunch, clutching at their shoulder. Hold the tears, love. I was only nearly dead, but enough to draw out that creature. Oh, so they actually, when they said partner, I was like, okay, so they're either a partner, like, assistant-wise, or partner, like, romantic-wise, and it's kind of hard to tell because I hadn't seen them interact a little bit, but I'm starting to think they might be romantically partners. I cringe. Don't call me that. Draw out. You were using me as bait? If you wound me, I thought we were being partners, and it worked, didn't it? Did you see the look on its face? I cross my arms and consider it for a breath, then sigh. I suppose. So who or what was that creature? I don't actually know if they're partners now. They might just be assistant partners. I can't tell. That might have been a Lucasi, attracted to vulnerable humans. Slippery as eels they are, but we outwitted this one. Skeptical, I cross my arms. Is that so? Quite. We don't have to worry about it for a while. Why didn't you finish it off when you had a chance? I peer around nervously, throat tight. And these Lucasi, are there more of them? Lara swallows, seemingly uneasy all of a sudden, eyes clamped shut and swaying. Are you alright? Say something. I reach out a hand in case they topple over. Just the one, they mutter. Oh, good. I think. Not sure what to do with my outstretched hand, I scratch my nose. Breaths returning to normal, they straighten up with some effort, massaging their throat. Lara finally shakes their head and says, not that this isn't delightful, but we should probably get to work, eh? Come now, they say, leading toward the back of the room. My head is bursting with questions now that the danger is past, but when we get near the darkened doorway, my pulse quickens and I hesitate. There, I should probably have gotten... Oh, I spoke too soon. That should probably have gotten us past the noise. With just a few gestures of the hand and some words I don't recognize, Lars slams the door shut and blockades it with loose stones. Show off, I mutter, staring at Lar. Then I realize that's probably not how you pronounce it. I think it's Elar, but Lar is shorter, so I'm gonna say that one. Then I notice them visibly hunch and wonder how much it's costing them to do these things. A thin silvery thread drifts close to my face. I wave it away thinking it's spider silk. It sticks to my hand and I realize there are dozens of these threads growing out of Lar's shoulder. Now that I'm paying attention, their forms also seems to flicker, insubstantial. Their hand is so feverish it's uncomfortable on my skin. My own hands are flickering the same way. I draw a sharp breath. What is happening? Noticing my growing unease, they face me, waving a hand nonchalantly. Don't worry, it's normal for heart vessels under these conditions. Or did you forget that too? Who said I was worried? I'm just curious. What is this heart vessel? And stop reminding me that I forgot things. They shrug. Of course you are. Their bodies made from waters, energy condensed. Somewhat elementary really, as far as magic goes. Confused, I glanced toward the statue-like figures, but Lars seems to have read my thoughts. That's a profane vessel. You're anchored to this realm. You know, your flesh. Also quite elementary, right? I answered flatly. So that's why there are two of me. One is physical, and the other is sublime. Ilar finishes. You're catching on, they smirk, putting a thumb under my chin. Eyes a glitter with admiration. Exquisite. They tilt their head from side, examining me. Caught off guard, my cheeks warm up, I scowl. It took some skill crafting my body for my waters, if I may be so immodest. A shame it falls apart in the currents. Good thing I can remake it as fast. They clicked their tongue. I wish you knew what a feat it is, but alas. A real shame that I can't grasp the extent of your greatness, your modesty. I swat their hand away. A puff of hair, fine strands, detaches from them, drifting perilously close to my face. I flinch. They put their hands behind them, turning serious. So you understand why I'd appreciate it if you didn't stray too far from your physical body. So as not to have your masterpiece fall apart, I gulp, humor fading. They nod and start walking again, leading me on. Precisely. It'd be a waste of my waters, not to mention very unpleasant for you. Queasiness comes over me and I feel itchy all over. I brush away the strands, rubbing my arms, pressing the illusory flesh, but the itch won't go away. I don't know if this will help, but you don't remember what sunkens are, do you? They say after a few steps without turning around. Huh? Bottom dwellers of the seas, heartless, hollow, hungering things that can just go on trying to feed for an eon, but can never satisfy their cravings. Their voice drips with disdain. No? Are they lurking here too? I step closer to Elar. They shake their head. Not yet, but if you stray from your body or me for too long, then they look down, pensive. Memory, reason, even the essence of who you are may be lost, so promise me you'll never come back. Promise me you'll come back right away if you experience anything strange. They pause and add, don't make me worry. Eyes heavy and head numb, I rub my temples, muttering, stranger than all of this? Elar gives me a flat stare. Oh, you'll know when it happens. Will I ask myself. How would I know what I've already forgotten? I look at Elar, wondering just how much they know. Is that what happened to my memories? Why don't you look for the spell instead? And silence. Hey, explain what happened to my memories. Am I already becoming hollow? Please tell me it's temporary. I look aside for a moment and say, might be best to not overthink this. Overthink it? What if I never remember who I was? What's the point of living then? The pitch of my voice rises. But they're calm as ever. Memories are like vapor. They come and go. You can make new ones if you survive. The dead have no such luxury. Are you saying it's possible to recover then? I need an answer. Their grip on my wrist tightens. Listen to me. If you don't find the spell, you die. Not even a magus comes back from that. But you find it, there is still a chance. Do you understand? Head numb, I nod. Then it dawns on me. If it's dangerous to be far away, then why can't we just take the book and bring it to our real bodies? It is right there. I motioned at the journal wildly. It would make the whole thing so much easier. A shrug. That's the obvious thing to do, yes. Unfortunately, one of your precautions prevents it from leaving your desk. You see, things you worked on are of a somewhat delicate nature, and you made sure that nobody takes off with it. They cleared her throat. Only you knew how to undo those safeguards, and since your recollection is limited at the moment, I'm afraid we must work with what we've got. I stared blankly at the floor. Of course, why would I make things easy for myself? Another thing, the Lucasi is still around, no doubt biding its time. Don't let it approach. It lies, it charms, it'll try to trick you. If you see anyone else here, anyone at all, run back to me at once. I clutch my head and sigh. What does it want anyway, to eat me? Laura licks their lips. Yes, and can you blame it? They look me up and down. I stare at them. You're serious? I don't want to get into the details at this moment. Suffice it to say, be watchful at all times, and for depth's sake, don't agree to any propositions. Lucasi are powerful to begin with, and not impossible to get rid of if you make a deal with them. I rub the bridge of my nose. Let me get this straight. I have to remember all these things to avoid being eaten, but I can lose memories at any time? There has to be another way. I grab Lars' arm. What if you stay with me the entire time? What if you never let me out of your sight? Elar shakes their head. As much as I'd like to, I must rest. That means no heart vessel for me and very limited awareness of this place. Oh, Lure, this is not happening. I pace in a panic, heart racing. Insight flashes. Now you have a spell or something to help me remember? Something hard to forget? That's not a bad idea. Elar massages the back of their neck and gingerly looks around the room. Let me see. They take a few quick steps away, pluck something from the air, and return to me. Gripping my hand and looking it all over, they fixate on that spot on my wrist and jab something into it. Ow! What? Wincing, I instinctively jerk away, but Elar's grip tightens, holding me still. Look at me and repeat this. Let the image and words burn into your heart. Sensual pleasures wane, but pain I make my anchor. Longer this pain endures, I too shall remain. I grunt, struggling. Say it. The intense look in Elar's eyes leaves no room for arguments. I try to steady my racing pulse, but they drive the sharp object deeper into me. It burns. I struggle more. They pull me closer, hiss into my ear. Say it. Gasping for breath, I push the words out through gritted teeth. Abruptly, Elar lets go, satisfied. I stumble back, pulling my arm free. A shard of metal drops into the floor to clink, leaving drops of red. Still catching my breath, I shout at Elar. How dare you? What? You asked for? You could have warned me. Elar struggles. I thought it'd be no trouble for a magus of your caliber. I fume silently. Still grinning, they move on. I'll leave you to the journal then. Remember, it's a ritual with a circular gate, some black powder, and a mantra. Can you manage that much? I guess, I say, not at all certain. They smile and reach a hand toward me. I look away. Don't touch me. No fun. They pull their hand back, smiling, wavering a little. Once you find the spell, bring me the instructions. I'll tell you how to proceed, and the abyss devourer will soon cease to be a problem. Simple. I can make out even more of the objects behind them now. Their form is thinning out by the breath. Hurry. With a mischievous grin, Elar gives my wrist a squeeze. The pain of the cut flares up again. You won't forget this, right? Sure, this one. No, not likely, I reply with as steady a voice as I can manage, refusing to meet their eyes. Their grip tightens for just a moment. I inhale sharply. Excellent. It might just save you. You'll see. As they finish speaking, they let go of me and begin to disintegrate. I take several steps back, staring as they disappear. Their smile is the last to go. I wonder if even that can be done on purpose. Finally, alone. This is a lot to take in. Let's be reasonable. I give in to the weight of exhaustion and slump to the floor. I'm so tired. How can I possibly get out of this? What did I do to deserve this? Why is this happening to me? Pathetic. Why me? You're pathetic. Don't you get it? No one's coming. Only you can help yourself. You'll have to do it. Trust yourself. Yourself. I clamp both ears shut and shake my head over and over. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up! Echoes dance in the great chamber. The voice in my head recedes, but not without leaving a last retort. Coward. I will show you who's the coward, I mutter, pulling myself to standing by the desk leg. I will show you, I tell myself. Remember, don't forget, don't let anyone approach. Find the spell. I repeat the words in my head over and over, trying to make them stick. Pages of the book flutter through the air still. Oh, pages of the book flutter, though the air is still. Weird. I'm procrastinating, aren't I? Yes. Yes, you are. Fine, I'll get to work. I regard the book, pondering what to do. Let's try talking to the book. Hello, journal. It's Mushi, your master. I'm going to need a miracle. Please tell me you have one. Closing my eyes and desperately hoping, I pinch one of the bookmarks at random and open up the page it marks. It reads, date. Okay, this is way off in the future. Mark, cleansing. Expulsor ritual records. Held by visiting shamans of the Orients, a potent brew of mapacho leaf was drank by a circle of third-degree magi, myself included, resulting in distressing nausea and pain of the chest. I reached a point where I wished to be dead rather than to endure another moment of that pain. And suddenly I found myself transported out of the profane realm and into a pentagonal chamber within the seas. A group of Devarnas seemed to have been expecting me there. They instructed me to take a knife with a single eye on its handle and carve out a portion of my heart that was tainted black. I did as told and was then ejected back into the profane plane, vomiting profusely until a piece of still pulsing flesh came out. The knife had also been magically manifested in my hand. I felt the most pleasant sensation of joy and relief in the chest, followed by a surge of waters. I was told to discard the piece of flesh, but chose to keep it for further study. How is it still pulsing? How long will it persist? What can be done with it? I must experiment. VFA. Interesting, but I don't have a clue what it's about. There's no mention of a gate, black powder, or mantra. I thumbed the side of the volume. It's at least 1,000 pages. I sigh. Bite my lip and push on. Let me flexible look for something else. Let's see. What would I do? I would probably keep trying, honestly. Oh, let's see. Should I push on and hope for a miracle? It's that or be consumed by the abyss, I suppose. I also don't want to have to tell Elar that I gave up before I started. Imagine the tongue lashing I get, with that grin no less. The stinging on my wrist swells just then, irritating me. I bite my lip and focus on the words. Mouth dry, the reddish black ink glistens, menacing. Will I die here if I fail? The rustling of paper is like sand grating my eardrums. Why does it have to be me? The tepid leather cover sweats against my skin. A distant rumble, rolling an inner rumble. Okay. Pounding. It's not even my fault. I never chose this. Crash. Darkness beyond the window pane. Schlap. I suppose that's how you say that. A blinding flash. I shut my eyes from the piercing glare of arc lamps in the office of discipline. Rain pelting the window. A ruler mercilessly strikes into my palms. Slap. Slap. Strikes 13, the clock. Eyes stinging, I stand. I mustn't shed tears. I mustn't look weak. I won't give her the satisfaction. A tobacco Latin voice, gruff, squares the corners of this office. That's enough of that, Mushi Finaron. You do not give excuses. You do not shirk responsibility. Think not only of your image, but the image of all magi. Do you understand? A stiff nod, fire in my chest, burning, stifling. I can't hear you. Do you understand? Flecks of white fly from her sharp lips. Yes, Mrs. Lansworn. The plump belly loosens a notch, too close. I will myself not to tumble backward. Now go draft the letter of confession. You lunch after, not before? Oh, yes, Mrs. Lansworn. Pressing together trembling lips, I touch the tips of my right hand fingers to my chest and then my forehead, turn around and march off, eyes locked in onto the square patterned tiles on the floor. It's not fair, I remember thinking, trying not to cry. I hadn't done anything wrong. 11 rows wall to wall, 12 columns, window to door, 86 intersects. They said it was improper to dine with a lowborn, but she was kind to me. Step between the lines. They said it was scandalous to touch an untouchable, but I liked the softness of her skin. Don't cry. They made me turn her away. They made me, the only nice thing I had. Don't cry. Crash. Bright flash upon the journal pages. Rain pelting the window. I stroke my palm, a ghost pain's haunt. A memory? Lightning crashes again, but this time my heart does not jump to it. A solidity settles within me. I've endured pain since I was a child. Did I let it get to me? No. I'm here now, surviving. It could make me stronger, if I choose it. For the space of just a few breaths, defiance fills me, and I'm nearly vibrating with excitement. Breath swelling with confidence. I got this far. Let's see how far I can go. Don't let your guard down. Find out more. I nod to myself and look to the desk with the germ of a smile. Thick coralliron locks are set into each lower drawer. A furtive tug, then a firm pull. Both nest me nothing but a dull click. Me and my precautions. Undeterred, I decide to try every drawer. More of the same. Click. Nothing. You're not beating me this easily. I keep going, thinking if I'm lucky, then one might just be open. With a hiss, the bottom left drawer slides out. My eyes are set aglow with a heap of crumbled and damp papers of every color, a tomb full of flowers. Head tilting, I scrutinize the collection with parted lips. And just who are you? With a barely audible crinkle, a violet-colored paper spreads partially open, revealing rows of text. Letters? Could it be? Head abuzz with curiosity, I pick it up, unravel it fully, and read. Today we lunch by the riverbank. You have until mid-afternoon to come voluntarily, or else be picked up bodily and carried downstairs by me. Consider this letter your last and only warning. Different handwriting. Intriguing. I wonder what else I can find out. I'm telling you this for the 100th time already. I know, but you are amazing. I mentioned how cute they were, but I never imagined you'd actually bring one home. They must have cost a fortune. When did you even have time to procure them? Our new friend is perfect. What a mixture of aloofness and grumpiness, a mirror image of you, practically. I'm thinking about naming them for their 100th birthday. I expect them to become a proper familiar right after, so we'll need something respectable. Mr. Fuzzpants, perhaps? I and FP? I, Elar, and Fuzzpants? I shake my head, puzzled. A deep rumble shakes my body. I look toward the abyss devour. Its form is lost in the dense debris circling it. The rumbling settles into a grating hum. It's hard to even think with the noise, but if it gets no worse, I might still get through a few more of these letters and perhaps piece together my past. And if it does get worse, sink it. I'll take the risk. Sink indeed. Aren't you forgetting something? Go away. Can a voice in your head smirk? I think mine just did. Reaching for another letter, I'm tense all over. A feeling gnaws at the inside of my head. I suddenly feel like a horse that kicked me in the gut, knocking the wind right out of me. Doubling over, knees buckled, I wheeze. You forgot, didn't you? A pain pulses in my wrist. No, it's happening again. I have to go back. But the letters... No, I will not go back empty-handed. Straining, I snatch a few more letters and turn to leave, but a squirming in my palm alerts me. I look and see empty hands. What? I swear I look down. Papers are dropping to the floor in slow motion. Looking into my hands, I see sticky, glowing strings hanging from my wrists where hands used to be. The odor of rotten eggs filled my nostrils, and biting heat creeps up my arms. Elar looked like this before they disappeared. No, I plead, trying to gather up the streaks with my stumps, but more and more of me are turning soft and melting like cheese in an oven. As I stare, my skin becomes increasingly translucent. I can see fluids pump through veins with each heartbeat. Horror. Fascination. I'm frozen, unable to pull my eyes away. Parts of my skin bulge and tear open, spilling ooze that drift away into the unseen currents. The eel of my arm shudders, wriggles from what the confines of my skin and swims away. My mouth hangs open, but a maddening itch creeps across my body, and I let out a giggle. It itches everywhere, so itchy I can't stop giggling and shaking. My vision swims, lines and shapes meld. A sting on my wrist, Elar's pain, it sets my heart racing. Wrist? I can still feel it. I can still move. There comes a distant voice. I try to turn toward it. Streaks of colors spin around me. No room, no depth, no dimension. Even when I shut my eyes, the afterimage flashes behind closed lids. I was a ghost wandering through an ethereal painscape. I imagine hearing Elar's voice. Closer? Did I shout a reply, asking them to guide me? The itch between my ears is so loud. Did they hear me? Are they replying? Is that the eel swimming alongside me? I follow what I think is Elar's voice. My feet are so numb that only rhythmic thuds tell me I'm stepping forward. Violets are heavy as boulders crushing each other together. I count my steps, one after another. No time, no distance, just a stepping. I don't know how long I can go on like this. Something firm and warm touches my shoulders. I don't know how much time passes until I struggle my eyes open. Blobs of shimmering colors swirl and congeal into an impressionist gesture of a rune. Hot, bright needles withdraw from my skull, ecstatic coolness. I sigh, wincing at the agonizing relief, then finally drop the clutched tensions and sunk to the floor. Tears fall, but I don't care. Elar's grip eases me down. Welcome back, they say as if I'd gone for holiday. I can only wheeze. I swallow. This is a nightmare. Don't make me go back there. I press my cheek to the smooth stone floor. Cold. Cold as balance. Balance is good. You said it would be easy. I almost... Death couldn't be worse than this. My palm touches my head. I twitch. It goes away. It comes back. Small motions. Stroking. You lingered, didn't you? A shaking starts somewhere inside me. Grows into a heaving and then a soundless laughter. It all seems so ridiculous. Me, looking for a recipe to close a portal? Helping this stranger who drags me about, hurting me, telling me it will be easy and I can't linger? Straightforward? Ha! Don't overthink it, they say. My belly is sore from the convulsion, but it won't stop. My world is a blur. Maybe it's better like that. Sink it all to the bottom. Elar's awkward patting resumes. You don't have to tell me. I know what it feels like. Another wave of vertigo smears across my head. And you'll get used to it, like I did. Think of it as a lesson, if it helps. It doesn't. At least the room spinning is slowing. Elar shies. Dreadful, isn't it? I can almost hear her smile. To find yourself in such a strange place, not remembering, not knowing, peril around every corner. I hear death is not unlike that. You go to the seas, but not as yourself. You go as a new thing, empty of the past, like it never was. They look down with a stiff grin. Maybe it's not much worse than this. It almost sounds nice in a way. I should say something. You don't get to say that. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to hit the mic. The loneliness in their worlds brings a chill to me. Elar had been the one with the reins until now, guiding, encouraging, sometimes goading me forward. What would I do if they really gave up? The thought knocks the fire in my chest out cold. I should do something. I should say something. Elar, They chuckled, running a hand through their hair. How embarrassing. I should be the one cheering you up. Instead, I'm adding fuel to the fire. Or is it pouring water on your fire? Something poetic about fire and water. You get the gist. They chuckle. I let out a sigh of relief. I might even smile if things weren't so horrible, but I managed to grumble. Very poetic. I would applaud, but my arms still feel like noodles. Elar laughs and helps me to my feet. I've never seen them laugh. They look like someone else with the same face. Catching me looking, they clear their throat and look away. So what did you find in the journal? As I open my mouth to answer, my bleary eyes bring into focus the abyss devourer a few meters away, sneering with menace. I flinched, taking a step aside to put Elar between it and me. Elar's eyes flit sideways, then back to me. They sigh and smile sadly. I've gotten used to innumerable things in my time, but this one's not so easy. You don't say. Elar rubs the back of their neck, then peers up with mischief in their eyes. What if we gave it a nickname? It's hard to be grave about a thing if it has a silly name. What do you propose? Mashed potato. Do I get to name it? I have a better idea. Do you now? They pout theatrically. Let's hear it then. How about... Alright, what's something super silly that we can call this thing? about chicken butt? Elar blinks. I put my fists on my hips and give them a flat stare. I sigh. Very well. Chicken butt it is. I grin with satisfaction. They grin back. Moving on to more succinct matters then. Have you found the spell we need to slay chicken butt? There was this bizarre entry in the journal. I wasn't sure what I was reading, but I couldn't stop. I had to know. It was about a ritual called Expulsera. Raising an eyebrow, Elar asked, I'm impressed. It was a record of sorts? That's right. I think I took part in a ritual. Elar smirks. You aren't always as straight-laced as you like to think. So it is true. That explains it somewhat. I sense a tension in my head. A puzzle coalesces. But it raises another question. It always does with you. Go ahead. I wrote down things like excruciating pain, being taken out of this realm, meeting some Devarna, and then vomiting out something that was pulsing. The hairs on my neck stands up as I say it. Stroking their chin, Elar says, That's not a question. I mean, I must have seen some extraordinary things. Beautiful things, scary things, disgusting things I can't even guess at now. Are those memories all just lost now? If you're saddened by that, there's no need, my dear Mushi. Why not? It happens to every human being one day. All that they've known and cherished, loved and feared, craved and loathed, all will be lost. No exceptions. You simply arrived there before you died, a quirk in the flow. That is all. That is all? Does that not make you afraid? I don't see why it should. Because it could mean that everything you've ever done doesn't really matter. They don't, not to the great depth. Just so much debris to feed the Lucasi. How can you say that? Are you even human? Taken aback, Elar fists me with a narrow gaze. I swallow, wondering if those were the best choice of words. But they recover with a shake of the head. The old Mushi and I might have engaging exchanges on such a profound topic, but you at present... What about me at present? My sweet chill. Oh my god. My cheeks swell and I cross my arms waiting for them to finish so I can give them a sound tongue lashing. They shrug as if I'd asked them about the weather. You're not you anymore. Sadness hits me hard, like a bucket of ice water dumped on the stove. I turn aside to rub my eyes and don't notice Elar walk to me until a hand is laid lightly on my shoulder. There's good reasons I don't indulge in all your questions. Their tone is not patronizing for once. Not wanting to meet their eyes, I stare ahead and ask, what might those be? Elar is silent again, considering their answer. Maybe? The fire may be out, but cinders still smolder in my heart, and I can't resist a late retort. And what if the way out of this mess is buried in my lost memories? Did you think of that? Perhaps, but to go down that route would be to stake our salvation on your reverting to your old self. They take their hand away. What is with you in comparing me to the old me? Am I truly that much worse now? Is that what you're driving at? No. A hand raised to the forehead in frustration. Elar speaks in a tone so low I struggle to hear it. You keep looking behind you, wondering what was lost, but you miss what lies ahead, and by doing so, you doom us both. Their voice drips with dismay. I can only swallow. But then they chuckle. If you want to regain something, then let it be the old Mushi's prudence. Do what is necessary. Find the spell. Free us both. Can you do that? I let out a long sigh. All right, I can do that. Sorry if I got distracted, I add. Elar clears their throat. You didn't encounter any mentions of the ritual we need. No, I had no time. I stroked the spot on my wrist. There are probably a few dozen spells in that book. Elar begins to pace back and forth, brows locked together, muttering, Those are not uncommon ritualistic components. No, I won't get through that way. Need more time. We can't afford to make mistakes, Mushi. You have to do better than this. Did you find nothing else? I don't know whether to be embarrassed, frustrated, or indignant. I tried to read more, but my body started falling apart. I almost didn't make it, remember? I feel the cut on my wrist, remembering. Wait, there was something else. I remember something about my past. I found the letter. Would the letter be as important as the memory? I don't think the memory helped, but I don't think the letter would help either. I also don't remember what the letter talked about, but I do remember the memory, so let's go with the letter. There was a letter. It was signed by an I. Was it from you? What was it about? It sounded like you were rather forcefully inviting me to lunch. Probably to save you from starvation. I rolled my eyes. Really? Was I that inept? Not inept, dangerously absorbed. It wasn't a big deal. Why are you asking? No reason. Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm just happy to have found something about my past. Not like you're gushing with information in that regard. Why wasn't I? Let's see. Oh, chicken butt? Imminent annihilation? I just want to feel a little more me. You know what? Never mind. I was just curious. You know what? Never mind. I probably should go back to check the journal. Elar gives me a tight-lipped smile. I sigh. I'm sorry. What for? Getting carried away, I suppose. Curiosity got the best of me, probably part of who I was, right? I would try to keep it in check. Eli relaxes visibly. There will be time to be curious later. Don't you worry. Do I have your word on that, assuming we make it out of here? I started to turn toward the desk, keeping my eyes on Eli still. They nod. There will be time, they murmur. It is a promise then. Don't push it, they grin. I grin back as I walk away. So now we're going back to the room with the journal, right? Alright, once again, I find myself before the journal, apprehensive, scratching my chin. What did Miss Lansford say? The heart is but a tool. A magus commands all their tools with authority, then trust them to do the job. Alright, journal, I will begin turning pages. Give me a sign when I come to the page I need. That is in order. I lift the cover and it almost turns over by itself. Pages rustle softly as my fingers brush against them. It's strangely soothing. What if I don't find it? What if I don't understand it when I do find it? Shut up. But what if 1, 2, 3, 4, what if 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 57, 58. The rustling stops. I look down. A 2-page spread comes into focus. A stain lurks in the grooves between the pages. The left side of the spread lists a few components for a ritual. A black salt sigil with a diameter of 5'3" measures. The leaf of your body, a voice whispers. Freshly spilled waters to fuel the reaction. Your blood, it whispers again. An ineligible word follows. I squint. A drop, a dash of, oh, that scared me. A pint? Surely not. That would be suicidal. I make a mental note to ask Eli and move on to the last item. A mantra for unifying the forces to be chanted 32 times. What an odd number. A drawing darkens the right side spread. I turn to examine it, but my eyes can find no focus. The lines fray into overlapping spider silk. Strange. I lean in closer for a better look. My bowels turn cold, but my eyes are enticed. Closer and closer. Childlike figures, some missing heads, others missing limbs, each incomplete, maimed, interlocking in antinomically impossible ways, forming a ring. One has an arm going from a neck, another's legs branch apart spider-like. What are you? I whisper, almost touching the page now. Fascinating. I lean in closer. The black mass at the center looms. Its lines undulate, like ripples on the sea on a moonless night. There's some movement under the surface. What are you? I shiver in excitement, eyes itching, unable to blink. A round protrusion at the very center of the inky blackness wiggles. There's a crescent slit running from left to right. It opens. Teeth. I put my ear to it. A faint warmth streams out from it with a hiss. There's a rhythm, a cadence to it. Are they words? My heart pounds. I struggle to make out syllables. Not savvy? Sassory? Oh, sorry. Sorry? For what? I don't understand. I can never say it right before I have whispered it in sight. It hardly matters now. Whether I say the words or not eats you. You linger. You are the silence. A lump forms in my throat. The walls close in. A weight presses on my chest. Numb. I can't breathe. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you to hear me. Why? Why are you saying these things? I try to pull away. My body is heavy. Joints creak. Dismember how we lie. Destiny, fate, glory, immortality, all lies. No. No, no, no now. Please, free me, please. Heavier and heavier, squeezing the breath from me. I need to get away. There's a dull, distant pain, Elar's pain. I am not heartless, you know. No, no more. I will hear no more. The pain, I turn my heart to it. A spark of heat in the cold. My hand comes into focus. Who gave you the right to impossibility? I drive the wrist into the wood. The spark inflames. The heat spreads. The sense of a body returns. Fighting with every drip of strength, I slam the book shut with a resounding thud. The whispering abruptly abates. I double over, gasping for air. Pat, 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 as the sweat deserts my chin. What in the great abyss? I drop onto the floor unceremoniously, head resting against the drawers. That voice, there is something about it, but I'm not sure what. Well, is that part of a spell? A message left by someone? I touch the chilling numbness lingering on my chest, waiting for my heart to steady. The place is getting to me again. Every step I take forward, something jumps out and bites me. I squeeze my wrist, shaking my head. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. I should go to Ilar. They might know about what I just found. I look at my hands, a little see-through, and not a moment too soon. I make my way back, keeping a wary eye on passing debris, letting out a sigh of release as an expectant Ilar finally comes into view. How was it? They come toward me. Horrible, as usual, I swallow, but I think I found what you're looking for. A ritual that involves a circular sigil made of black salt, I think it said. Has to be large, 5'3" measures or something. Elar's eyes light up. A ghost of a smirk rises and falls from their lips, their voice low. Go on. It also asks for blood and a mantra. I only saw the sigil, the mouth whispering. Cold. I shiver. Elar steps forward, excitement evident in their voice. What about the sigil? Can you reproduce it? Did you procure the black salt? The sigil, it said things to me. What was it? I try to recall, but each attempt to think brings a wave of pressure and cold in my head. I grasp Elar's elbow, eyelids squeezed tight, swaying, choking. They grab me by the arms, demanding, well, what's the mantra? How many words? What language? Did you memorize it? I don't like it. It feels wrong. What about the blood? What kind? How much? It feels wrong, I hear my voice reverberate. Hands balling into fists, I meet Elar's stunned gaze and back out of their grip. The ritual, what if you are wrong about it? Echoes of melancholy and venom resound in my ears. My hand moves to stroke the cold numbness in my chest. The things it said to me, I don't understand it exactly, but it could not be right. It just couldn't. Elar's jaws clenched tight, vibrating with tension. Explain, from the beginning. Alright, the list of ingredients seemed to fit, but the sigil, it spoke to me. It said, if the ingredients are right, then that's the ritual. Who cares? Do you know how it's like, you're not listening. You're not listening to me. If we get this wrong, then there will not be a second chance. Is that a risk you're willing to take? They scoff. Now you're the adept in magic here? I was, and it is still my journal, my spell. Even if I forgot many things, that has to count for something. Is that so? Then why don't you enlighten me with your insight? Well, I pause, trying to piece the argument together. I'm waiting, oh great magus. Quiet, please. I'm trying to think, I snap. Time is waste. Look, I don't know what you want me to say. There is a voice, a feeling inside me, and it always knows whether I'm doing the right thing. When I found the ritual, it told me to get away in no uncertain terms. Oh, a voice. Now it makes sense. For depth's sake, Mushi, we're in a mage's tower. Half the things in here have a voice. I fixed him with an icy glare. This is different. I trust it, alright? It is the only thing in the world that I can trust right now. Elar paces back and forth, a hand gesturing, mouth open, but no words come out. They finally give up after a while and sigh heavily. Alright, what did you hear that was so off-putting? Can you at least share that with me? I thought you didn't care. Elar's lips pinched up momentarily, like they're making a great effort to not say something. Then they very deliberately, slowly say, please, we don't have time to waste. Tell me, I'm listening. I eyed them for a while, letting them stew in their misery a little longer. Elar blinks at me desperately. A little longer. Their eyes twitch once or twice. Satisfied, I answer. It was just despair. Hopeless, heartless despair. I could barely breathe. Why would I be anywhere near a spell like that, much less cast it? I would sooner kill myself. Elar perks up at the sound of my words. First, please don't do that. Secondly, we're trying to find a spell that invited the abyssal gate, correct? Yes, but explain to me like I'm not a 5-turn-old. So, it follows that the spell would share characteristics with the abyss itself, and the abyss is... Their gaze drops as they speak, seeming to lose its luster. A cursed place. The poor sods that end up there, well, they don't never perish. Every day they forget a piece of them that had joy, or warmth, or hope. But the things that haunt them, the mistakes, the pain and regret, the despair, they never fade. Until one day, that's all they know, all they are. Elar's head lolls, eyes shrouded in shadow, lost to me. For a while we stayed in silence. Hopeless, heartless despair, I whispered to myself. Finally, they shuffle over to the couch and drop into it, let out a long sigh, then a dry chuckle. Do you get it now? What you're enduring here is not even a fraction of what we'll have to suffer if we fail to shut that blasted gate. I wish that you didn't have to go through more of this, but it's only a little longer. If you put it that way, I'll try one more time. You should have a rest. Give your heart time to stabilize, but not too long. I could use a few moments and some answers, I say, sitting next to them. Why did I have a feeling you'd say that? They put a hand on their temple. If I don't ask this, I doubt I could really rest. All right, then. Looks like I have no choice. Go ahead. Ask about our past. Ask about magic. Ask about myself. Ooh. This is hard. I kind of want to know, what their past was like. But I do kind of want to know about myself. I seem crazy. I'm more interested in our past. Yes, how did we meet? I looked at the ceiling as I asked, how did we meet each other? I'm not at all sure it'd benefit you to know that. Really? What harm could there be in a little bit of conversation? There are ways you wouldn't expect to be harmed, which are often the most harmful. Just tell me. Fine, there are a lot of intoxicants involved, some thrashing, wailing, a bit of blood. You didn't remember much afterwards and probably regretted the whole thing if I have to guess. You are making this up. No, I assure you it's all true. Shall I continue? Maybe not. A slight grin creeps up their lips, but that's just getting to the good part, where I changed my mind, alright? The smug grin on Eli's face makes it hard to keep my hands to my sides, but I manage. A moment of silence descends upon us. Scrolls rustle as they glide by us. I hear that rumbling reminder. Oh, I guess our first encounter was rather sexual. That's all I can gather from that. Time for me to go. I peer back at the desk. When I looked again, Eli had already disappeared. One day I want to do that to them, I mutter. I move toward the desk once more. Man, I should ask about fuzz pants. I don't feel satisfied at all. Okay, but I've been reading this for an hour, and that's usually where I like to keep these things because they do a number on my voice. So I'm gonna leave it here. We'll come back to it though. I really like the story, and I really think it's very good so far. I imagine it's probably just another hour just left. These don't tend to be super long, although I did play the Kentucky Fried, the KFC one, and that was a longer one than I expected, but we'll get to it. I'm loving the story so far. It's really interesting, and I can't wait to find out more of what happens. I'm a little bit confused about everything, but I think that's kind of where you're supposed to be right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, drop a like on it and leave a comment. I just want anything you guys down there. Please subscribe. Let's know that you're interested, and when you ring that bell, it lets you know when I upload new stuff. Nushi Gamer, signing out.